Hello, Mr. Munish Khurana, Senior Manager from Eurocontrol. How are you?
I'm very well, and good morning to you. In fact, good morning to all your viewers. I'm delighted to be here.
We are delighted too. So, the floor is yours.
Okay, so good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, welcome from Eurocontrol. For those of you who don't know Eurocontrol, Eurocontrol is an organization headquartered in Brussels, and we look after the safety of air navigation across Europe. We have an R&D center in south of Paris, in Bretigny, a training center in Luxembourg, and an operational center in Maastricht itself. My name is Munish Khurana, and I'm the Senior Manager of Business Development at Eurocontrol. Now, I believe in the audience, we have a whole array of people sitting from different walks of life. And I believe there are people who are pilots, drone pilots, there are drone operators, there are researchers, there are industry people, and so on. What I hear again and again from a number of these organizations and stakeholders is there's the good news that people are looking forward to having drones fly in the air because they see they can bring benefits, economic benefits, societal benefits, such as the ones that we saw during the COVID days, delivery of medical devices, helping during the fire and rescue, search and rescue, and all that and stuff. But on the other hand, we also hear people who are concerned about the risk that drones might add to existing airspace users in such as the general aviation, the manned aviation, and so on. What I'd like to do today, in the next few minutes, is to highlight to you that the only ones that's worried about the safety of airspace and safety of ground with the use of drones. We at Eurocontrol, along with our colleagues in EASA, I saw my colleague Natalia talking earlier, also European Commission, as well as the CESAR joint undertaking, we jointly work to try and maintain and reduce the risk that the drones would add by integrating them into the airspace. So what I'd like to do is to tell you a bit about what we are doing at Eurocontrol to manage that situation, to make sure that the risk is manageable. Now, the first and foremost, what we're doing is we are involved in a whole range of research and innovation activities, and that is to look at what is it that we need to do. What is it that we first need to understand on what the drones can do, where the risks are likely to be added, and how can we reduce them? And you see on the screen some of the projects that are currently ongoing, primarily part of the CESAR joint undertaking, but wider than that as well. Also, the Horizon 2020 U-Space projects as well. As such, we at Eurocontrol are managing the Chorus XUM project that you see on the top left part of the screen, and this is about integrating drones in urban airspace. So please do go to these websites and learn. What we are trying to do is to make sure that we all in the community understand what it means to integrate the drones safely in the airspace. Other than that, we are working very closely with our colleagues in CESAR joint undertaking to consolidate what we call the concept of operation of integrating drones and use space in the ATM world, in air traffic management world, and in the airspace. Because there are a number of research activities going on from a whole range of EU-funded and non-EU funded projects, we want to maintain consistency and consolidation across the concept of operation for Europe. So we are working with our colleagues in CESAR joint undertaking to ensure that all the projects, they come together and we achieve deployable solutions. Then, in addition to that, we do a lot of work with our colleagues in EASA and also in standards institutes, which I'll come to that in a minute. But particularly in EASA, we have contributed actively in the use space regulation that was released in April, that's 2021-664, as well as the two regulations that Natalia talked about earlier. Now, later on in December, early January, the acceptable means of compliance or for the use-based regulation, 664 are going to be released. And the 4 working groups that we at Eurocontrol are leading, in fact, we are leading the first 2 and contributing in the bottom 2. And that's our way of ensuring that we do our bit. We are a technical organization and operational organization. So by leading Work Package 1 airspace risk assessment, we are trying to come up with a methodology that can then be applied in a repeatable manner to ensure that any risk associated with integrating use-space into the air traffic management is managed as such. We are also members of the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, RPAS panel, and co-rapporteur of the Command and Control link that we need to talk to the drone flying in the air with the control center on the ground as such, and also part of the advisory group of ICAO UAS. In addition, we do contribute heavily to standards, which are absolutely needed. Without the standards, you will all appreciate we have a problem that we are unable to ensure that the regulations are implemented in a repeatable and in a safe manner. And also, standards provide a very useful defined barrier for new companies, new drone companies to come in and join. If we didn't have repeatable standards, then only the large organizations will benefit because they have big pockets and they can spend resources to try and comply with the regulations, but that would not be suitable for the small to medium scale enterprises across Europe. So we have a list of these standards that we're working on so far. So heavily involved. And the one that you see on IATA, that I believe is about to be released within the next few days and weeks. We are currently reviewing that part. Now, I mentioned to you airspace risk assessment. As part of being Eurocontrol, we are, our purpose in life is to work for our member states, the European member states. And amongst many other things, our key role, of course, is to manage the traffic, the network of flights across throughout the European skies for our member states. And we have 42 plus 2 associated member states across Europe. But in addition to that, we also provide support, technical and operational support to our member states. Now, with the use-based regulation that was released in April, a number of the member states are busy trying to implement those. Natalie might have mentioned in his presentation that by January 2023, the use-based regulation 664 needs to be fully implemented by all the member states. Well, I would say easier said than done, because it's some member states are in advanced stage and others are not so much. So we have different speeds at the moment. One of the things that we do very actively is that we provide technical and operational support to our member states on a regular level. For instance, we are currently working with our colleagues in France to create a test corridor between our experimental site in Bretigny and trying to prepare that for the Paris Olympics. So we are providing technical help. In addition, we are currently engaged in the 5 states that you see and the 5 cities that you see on the screen to conduct airspace assessments. We have already completed an airspace assessment in Riga, in Tallinn. We're in the last stages of the assessment in Tel Aviv, and in other cities we are starting the assessments. In addition to that, we have requests from 19 other states, and I can tell you, since this slide was prepared, we have even more requests. And the reason for that is one of the criteria that's mentioned in the use-based regulation is that for cities and for airspace to be used for use-based purposes, in order to create the use-based airspace, one of the first things that needs to be done is to conduct an airspace assessment to find out what's actually happening and what opportunities are available, what the constraints are, what the restrictions are as such. And we have a methodology that we use across the board to do that assessment as such. So And in addition to that, we also provide technical guidance, and you see some of the cities and countries that are mentioned at the bottom of the screen, where we are providing webinars by helping each one of these member states on areas where they have difficulty either implementing use space or even understanding some of those topics. So I myself personally run some of these webinars for it. Moving on quickly, in our R&D and Research and Innovation Center in Bressigny, south of Paris, we have air traffic management simulations that we have been doing for many, many years. And we do those for our member states to do what-if analysis, to do validation of the solutions they might have as such. We are in the process of extending that simulation to include drones and use-based simulations so that we can do more R&D work there. We can do use-based validation services. We can try and create scenarios and use cases in a simulated environment and do some tests to see where what they tell us, and then help member states on what outcomes they might get based on simulations. And that also helps us to prepare the entire validation of use-based services that we aim to provide in future. And then one of the things that we run is under the supervision of European Commission, DG Move. In 2018, 4 organizations listed on the bottom left corner, the European Commission, EASA, Eurocontrol, and SESAR joint undertaking came together to create what we call a European network of use-based demonstrators with the intention to share lessons learned with various communities of drone and use-based across Europe. What the Commission felt was that there was a lot of activity taking place across Europe, but it was not harmonized. Different people were doing different things in different ways. People who had already learned their lessons by trying things the first time were unable to share with those who were just about to start. So this network was set up. I'm proud to say that today we have more than 420 members across Europe. In addition, we also have associated members in NASA, FAA, the Federal Aviation Authority in the United States, Australia, Middle Eastern countries, Singapore, and so on. As such, we run physical meetings and we run webinars due to COVID over the last couple of years. And in these meetings, we share our lessons learned. We have debates on technical areas related to integrating drones in the airspace. So a lot of your drone pilots and drone operators would be very interested to talk about and listen to what the issues are today and how we're trying to resolve those. And in that respect, I want to announce to you that next week on the 30th, that's Tuesday, we are holding a special physical and virtual, so it's a hybrid event, conference at Eurocontrol in Brussels, and I'd like to welcome you to please use that link that I've provided here to register. You can join in physically if you can, or join in virtually. The whole idea here is that since the regulation was released in April of this year, that's the Use-Based Regulation 664, a number of cities, drone operators, drone pilots, even the telecom companies, the internet companies, so non-aviation people, I would say, have been asking the European Commission for an authorized one-stop shop where people can go and seek advice, technical, operational, regulatory standards, even financial help, and so on and so forth. And the existing network that we have, which is the European Network of Use-Based, is now being extended. Its scope is being extended on the 30th of November by Henry Collet, the Director General of DG Move at Eurocontrol. And the idea is to invite more people from wider communities to come and seek help and share their lessons with others as such. I would very much appreciate if you can, and your members or listening to this presentation, please join in by clicking on the website, a link that I've provided there to register. And additionally, if your members, people listening to this presentation, want to join this network that we manage, you don't need to pay for it. You're all welcome to join in as long as your interests are in drones, use space, urban air mobility areas. You're welcome to join in. Please drop me an email, which you will see on the next page. And in that email, I will be more than, or you can drop an email via this website, via the drone days, if you like, and they'll help me connect with you. And then I will be more than happy to invite you to become members, and then you have the opportunity to share your lessons learned and also benefit from other people. I hope you enjoyed a short presentation, but I really do hope that you join us next week on Tuesday, the 30th of November. And also I hope that you become members of our network so we can help you and you can help yourselves. Thank you very much, and I go back to the moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Khurana. We will be there also on the 30th. Just to mention, we will send an email to all the people who were registered for this event. So they will have also this event. We will send it in the afternoon. We will repeat it, and we will send it also to all the members of the Belgian Drone Federation so they can join this event on the 30th of November. So big up for that. And thanks for this nice presentation. It was an honor having you here. So we will see you next time on the event, the 30th then.
Thank you very much indeed.
Bye, and thank you very much.